You guys need to sign the papers. And the warrants, the warrants and time roll.
She get this afternoon, turn it on like you
Is it here, shows, what everybody needs. You need to sign that. This is for the bank recognitions that they do every month.
But you
Your
can't.
clerk.
That's
what goes with what money she takes, so has to deal with. Those are the warrants and your time hold paycheck. You've already signed it, but you can look at them. Usually you have to look at them before you sign it, but that's okay. Yeah, you just vaguely go through it and you can see what's been paid out for the last month.
Yeah, so we.
Been about 3 days, I don't think
That's just the listing of everything on the top, and then it shows page stubs. You know,
Yeah,
copies
okay,
of.
20, yeah, I took 40 out.
Yeah.
Then you call her.
No, I don't think Kim
So mine
has
was-
signed those yet.
So
either.
that's
Yeah. This is for all the paperwork and stuff that she's, for the warrants
You know, that
and
work,
paper.
buddy deal, you know what I mean?
That's for this stack here, if you want to look at them, but you're supposed to sign that. And this is the monthly finance
Buddy for me,
report.
turn around.
And that's this stack that you're going through now.
2 or 3 more people before I think about that.
Event right there.
Right over there.
Right up there. So I can't do that.
Are you guys done with it? Yeah. No. Here's one.
It's them butter.
Here, King.
I'm gonna have a percolate.
Gee.
Here's another one. And there should be one more. Somewhere. It's got a bunch of lines at the bottom. Here, 1336 says Alan Melody. I don't know. He evidently they owed him something. I don't know. He is the head of the water department.
It says her there, it says Alan Melody, it says Sasha.
Oh, Sasha. Oh, I don't know. I read the wrong one. I don't know. Oh, that. I don't know. She hasn't been here for a while.
Well, I don't care where she's been.
Well, I know. I don't know. It's a paycheck, but
That's Tasha.
Sasha's on there.
Oh, those are just, she's an old council member that never cashed a check.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, thank you, Amanda.
Apparently, she didn't need her $13.
That's the only reason why I'm on this.
That's exactly
Okay, are we ready to call the meeting to order?
Oh, I see.
I beg your pardon, there's something missing down there.
I don't know that all the papers have been signed.
I have one,
There should be three of
I
them.
guess there should be one that you haven't gotten to, or
There should be one with,
this is the
I
final.
signed three.
you did?
There was all of them on the table.
Yeah, they were here, I
Yeah, but I
signed.
signed three of them.
Oh, I've only seen two. I didn't touch it.
It's not
Who's that
stacked
said
down
there's
there,
two?
is it, please?
That's got Luke's name on it.
That's not this line stuff, is it?
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
So we do have them all, we just aren't completely finished with them.
I don't know. There should be
Okay.
three of them, so I
I
know.
have two here.
I don't know where the other one's
I
at.
thought Peggy said she had it.
Oh, she does.
Okay. Okay. We're going to call the meeting to order, and we'll just let Peggy go ahead and go to Steve down there.
Trying to read it, I'm trying to read it.
And
Did you sign it?
would you please call the roll?
Mary Jane.
Here.
Peggy.
Yes.
Luther.
Here.
Kim. Here. Ralph.
I trust that everyone has had time to review the minutes of April 2nd. Were there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I didn't see any. I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
There is a correction.
Oh, is there?
Yes. I have page 5. It was just a repeated, something that should have been deleted from the others on the 5th page. If you will look, said Peggy asked if we needed to elect a new president of council. That was a leftover statement from the previous month that just didn't get deleted out of the minutes on the April 2nd meeting.
Wait a second, what was on? Okay,
If you will look at page 5,
5.
sure. After resolution and ordinance, no report, statement, underneath. You see that next paragraph, says Peggy, that needs to be deleted. That was from the March minutes, and it was inadvertently left in these. So that paragraph needed to be deleted. Other than that, I didn't see any other corrections or additions that were necessary.
I don't see anything, I see another question I have I want to bring up about, since I'm a new member of the council, I don't understand the word, how you can abstain from something and then turn around and vote.
I think it was a harmless thing to have happen myself.
Am I allowed to abstain at any meeting I want to?
It was not if the vote's already been counted and
Oh,
taken.
I'm talking about another time, if another meeting, I can, we have a deal going on where I can abstain and then I can turn around and vote again, and vote, am I right?
No, you wouldn't be allowed to do that, and we probably missed.
Well, this is what this says here in the minutes.
That's exactly what happened, yes. But it's probably an error that I shouldn't have allowed. And it won't be allowed again.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as corrected.
I second.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Peggy.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Kim. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Thank you.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the warrants and payroll timesheets.
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Kim. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to move interest to the respective funds.
Motion made.
Seconded. Mary Jane.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Kim. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Chair would like to have a motion to approve the transfer of operating funds from the general fund to the police fund.
Motion made.
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Kim. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the grant matching funds transfer from the general fund to the street department fund.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther? Kim? Yes. Al?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't think Jeff's here, and he did tell me he had a meeting at 7 and wouldn't be able to get away till 7:30. So if he should come in later, we'll just make some time for him then. And Bob? We're ready for you. Bob Stallman from Miami Valley. I would like you to, we're going to kind of turn this around so you can be on the table.
While I'm handing these out, my name is Bob Stallman. I'm with Miami Valley Lighting. Miami Valley Lighting is a affiliate of DP&L, and we provide street and outdoor lighting services to 180 plus customers, local governments in the DP&L service territory. We own and maintain about 63,000 lights. And what I wanted to, you're probably wondering why I wanted to meet today, because the existing street lighting agreement that we have with the community doesn't expire until the end of next year. However, an opportunity exists for Miami Valley Lighting to provide what we believe is enhanced and same type of lighting to the community prior to that. And what I'm referring to is the proposal I'm going to talk about is bringing LED technology to the village of New Paris at a very cost competitive and price structure. The foundation or the basis of what I'm talking about is going to be to have a discussion, and we don't need to make a determination today. It would be simply terminating the existing agreement that we currently have and starting a new one much earlier, or beginning January 1 of next year, that would allow us to basically come in and change out all of the mercury vapor and high pressure sodium lights that we have in the village to LED. So that's kind of an overlying level, if you would. On the presentation I have, it's on both sides, so if you just flip it up as far as when we go to it. And if there's questions as I'm going through this, please feel free to stop me. You don't have to wait until the end or whatever that may be. So if you could turn it to, or flip it up to page 2. Page 2 is really just a presentation as it relates to the existing lights that we have in the village. And so as I'm moving from left to right, you will see the type of lights that we have, the sizes, then the quantity related to each one of those, the unit, or what we would refer to as full service price, then that price times how many we have, which gives you a monthly total, and then the annual total. Now what I'm referring to, for some of you, if you forgot or maybe don't remember, when I'm referring to full service lighting consists of the following, so as you can relate to the price for each one of those individual lights. It consists of the electricity for that light. It consists of all maintenance, so lamp change outs, replacing any wire, fuses, connections, all of those different types of things. It also is included with the replacement of that fixture when it becomes inoperable. So when it actually goes bad and we take the entire fixture out and put in a new fixture, that's included in that. It also includes things such as relocating that light for any public works or road project that you may have. It also includes weather damage as it relates to that light, automobile damage as it relates to that light. If somebody would come and hit that pole, and it is a Miami Valley Lighting on the pole, it would include that. And then obviously operating costs, and then a rate of return for us. So all of those things are included in that full service price for them. So as you look at that, you probably realize that there are a couple of types of lights that we have. We have high pressure sodium lights, and we have mercury vapor lights. To give you a little bit of background on why that is the case, mercury vapor was the technology for a number of years as it relates to street lighting. And then in probably the mid-'80s is when the energy kind of crisis came across the United States, and that's when high-pressure sodium became the technology for street lighting due to its slightly less energy usage than the mercury vapor. The biggest difference that you will see there, though, is the mercury vapor presents a sort of a white bluish light, or a little bit of a kind of a natural light. The high-pressure sodium presents that yellowish kind of gold kind of tint that you would see. So there are two different types of lights that we have there. Kind of taking that a step further, in I think it was around 2005, the U.S. government passed legislation mandating that you could no longer manufacture the ballast of a mercury vapor in the United States, essentially giving the death to the to the mercury vapor. So from that time, beginning in 2005, anytime a mercury vapor became inoperable, we replaced it with a high pressure sodium. So that, in addition to what I was referring to, created the two type of light structure that we have within the community today. What I'm going to present with LED technology is going to the same type of light, one type of light throughout the entire community, kind of going forward as it relates to this particular proposal. Any questions on that before I move on?
Will the number of lights stay the same, or will it be changed from less or more to that fact?
The number of lights will stay the same, so it will be a one-for-one type of switch. The only change to that would be if during this process the village says, well, we may want to have a light here, but that is not in our plan in this particular proposal. So it'd be a one-for-one switch. So if you flip to, I believe, page 3, I just want to talk a little bit about the LED. Obviously, it's been talked about a little bit, but I want to talk about a little bit as it relates to some of the benefits of that. Number one, you will see enhanced light levels. The light levels of where we will be changing lights as it relates to providing on the roadway or whatever will be enhanced versus what you have here. The second thing is the LED is a natural light. Now, the premier natural light is obviously the light you get from the sun. Nothing can match that. However, LED provides a high level of natural light based on what it provides. It also is very precision in that it shows the light on the areas that you actually want lit. So it does not waste light like you might get with some other fixtures that are out there. I already talked a little bit about the same type of light. The other thing that's nice about the LED, because of this white light, or natural light, is also that it has basically been receptive by more and more of the safety operations in the communities that we serve. Police, fire, rescue, all of those prefer the LED light because when you're out there and you're actually performing your work, you're seeing things in which the colors really truly represent the colors that are there. So my shirt would look blue. It may look gray under a high pressure sodium light. Something like that has a particular color. It may look a little bit different under the high pressure sodium. So the safety forces really seem to be attracted for a number of reasons to this. It also provides a couple of other nice things for basically you and us. It's a little bit less on the energy, which is good because of the precision lighting that it is. It doesn't need as much energy as it relates to watts, so that's a benefit. And the other thing is that it should provide long-term, it should provide a little bit of maintenance cost savings to us. We will no longer, I shouldn't say no longer, but with the LED light, it replaces lamp change-outs. So the thing that we do most frequent is lamp change-outs for high pressure sodium or mercury vapor. In fact, we probably do that every 2 to 4 years. Well, with LED, because of the light emitting diode. It's not really a lamp. That should be out there for a good 10 years without, there's a little track history, but it should be out there for 10 years without any of that. So we should have some reductions in maintenance costs going forward. So there's a lot of positive benefits as it relates to the LED technology and what it presents. Any questions with that? The next is just a little bit of a pictorial that shows you kind of the difference that I'm talking about. This isn't actually a roadway operation here, but we also provide commercial lighting, and we have a large customer that has a large parking lot in which you will look on the right side was the initial high-pressure sodium that we installed for that parking lot. Well, as they expanded, and actually this is out by the airport, actually as they expanded and grew to another light, or another lot, they wanted us to put in an LED. So you can see through that sort of what the difference is as it relates to the HPS and LED technology. So moving to page 5, I talked a little bit about the attributes, and you're probably thinking, well then, you know, if that's why hasn't this been coming along for a long time? Well, basically for 2 reasons. One being that the capital cost of an LED is much higher than the high-pressure sodium light. That's why Miami Valley Lighting, that's why others that provide comparable services such as us, maybe utilities like in Toledo, Cleveland, Columbus, whatever, that's why they've been very slow to install these, because the capital cost of an LED is much higher than the other. However, a couple of things have occurred of why I'm bringing this to you now, because I think it's a good opportunity for us to kind of look at this together, would be the capital cost has come down. It's steadily decreased over time, over the last 5, 6, 7 years. The other reason that makes this attractive at this particular point in time is that DP&L Energy Efficiency has a rebate program for customers that install LED lights versus other technologies that they have, whether you're in this building or whether it's for street lighting. And with that additional type of dollars coming in to help us with that, that helps us lower our investment costs associated with bringing LED to the technology or to the communities where you're serving. And that's why we're presenting this now, because I don't know, they made an announcement last year on their website that they were going to extend their rebate program. They were going to reduce the amounts, but they were going to extend it for a year or 2. And so we're trying to take advantage of that situation as much as we can to lower the capital costs related to those LEDs.
So in that situation, Miami Valley Lighting is the customer.
That's correct. And so, for example, I don't know if you have, I don't know what type of lights these have here, but if you decided you wanted LED lights here because this is a building that you own, you would get the rebates as the village because you are actually purchasing those fixtures or lights. That's correct. Good question. If you go to page 6, let me talk a little bit about the proposal itself. So again, the foundation or the basis of this would be determining the existing agreement that we have, enter into a new agreement that would begin January 1 of 2019 and would be a 5-year agreement. Through that, we would change out all 107 mercury vapor, high pressure sodium street lights, overhead street lights that we have in the village to LED. And we would change those out to 4 different types or 4 different tiers, I guess is the best way to say it, of LED. Now we've worked with our vendors, suppliers, and other lighting experts over the last couple of years to become very comfortable with the replacements of which one we should be or which ones we should use. So we've broken it down into 4 tiers. So, and I'll talk a little bit about that on the next page. So what our proposal would do as it relates to this is we would bear the entire cost, MVLT would bear the entire cost of changing out all the mercury vapor from mercury vapor to LED. And again, we're not referring to changing the lamp. We're taking the entire unit off and putting on an entire LED fixture. So we would bear all of that cost. The village would share in a portion of the cost as it relates to doing all of the high-pressure sodium. And that cost in here would be, I think I have $1,800. Is it $1,895? And we would do the change-outs over a 2-year period of time based on how you would like for us to do it. So we could do half 1 year and half the next year. We could do all of them 1 year. We could do all of them in 2020. Whatever you would like to do, we can work with you on that. So if that $1,890 is an expense that you're not able to bear at one point, we could break that up into a couple of different years for you to do that. And that would be your entire cost associated with that. Our full service price for the LED would be a little over 5% lower than the alternative high pressure sodium. And so you would be saving approximately $20, I think $20 a month over the last I'd have to go to the next page on that to actually see that. But your cost would actually go down. Your full service payment to Miami Valley Lighting would be less than what it currently is now. And so that would be a savings to you from going to from that standpoint. And again, we would be changing them out to 4 different type of LED lights. So if you look on the next page, I kind of have it broken out a little bit for you to be able to see that. When it's combined with the savings that you would receive from the new lights, when you combine that associated with your investment, you're really talking about paying us about $11 per fixture for the change-out, which is very low. An LED fixture is pretty cost-intensive. And so $11 per fixture is relatively cheap. And it's a good value, we think, for not only you to consider, but for the residents to be able to have the same type of light throughout the entire community. So I think there's a lot of benefit to that. I'll give you a minute to kind of look at that information, because I know it's kind of all of that on one page, and then you can ask me if there's any questions you have on that.
For those of you out there who don't have these papers and can't see, I will tell you that right now we have 83 mercury vapor fixtures and only 24 of the high pressure sodium. So and those we have probably because they need to be changed out, right? They have to be.
Well, basically the reason there's 2 different types is because this lighting technology has changed and legislation has occurred. That's the reason there's 2 different types of lights. What this proposal would do would be to change out all of them to LED. So you'd only have one type of light throughout the entire community. That's correct. And then moving forward, just a couple more pages left. Couple of additional topics I wanted to talk about as it relates to this. So this would be a 5-year agreement that would go from January 1 of 2019 through 2023. The prices would all remain the same for the first 3 years of the agreement. We do have one increase in year 4 of the agreement because we are experiencing price increases ourselves from vendors, from our affiliate, frankly, as we pay them for the energy for the lights and so forth. The full service installation charges would change, but that's really only if you would add new lights. That has no impact on the 107 lights that I'm talking about. This would be, for example, if you have maybe a residential area that you're adding 5 houses and you want to have a light there or 2, that's how that would impact there. Again, that just pays a portion of the cost as it relates to the installation of new lights. We don't have any steel poles in the community, so there's no impact to that. On the streetlight outage levels, and I'm going to leave a draft agreement for you to all look at over the next, whenever or however long it takes for you to kind of think about this. We respond to minor repairs within 3 business days and major repairs within 7. Major repairs would be like a pole gets knocked down or there's an underground fault. All we're trying to do in new language in this, there's a couple of instances where we don't have any control on how soon we might be able to get a decorative pole or a spun aluminum pole in or something like that. And so we want to maintain what we're doing from a minor and major, but we are asking for a little bit of difference as it relates to the timing based on some of those types of things that are not in our control. So that's why I brought that up, and you will see the difference between that and the existing language in the agreement. Again, you don't have any steel poles, so that wouldn't impact. And then on the decorative lighting, there's really no cost to you on this. But as we are looking at doing this, we are also trying to offer and looking at identifying decorative LED lighting that we're comfortable with. So that might be something that we start to include in this agreement at some point as either an addendum if we get comfortable with an LED decorative light. But again, that has no impact from a cost structure or this proposal to change the Cobras from mercury vapor and high pressure sodium to LED. So those would be the only other differences. But I wanted to make sure I brought them up for you to know what they are. And that really kind of wraps it up. Again, on the last page, the average cost to change out the existing fixtures is $10.79, or about $11 when you look at all of them, all 107. You get the value of better lighting and the same type of light throughout the entire community. And that you will see a reduction in your monthly full service pricing by going to this type of agreement. Estimated annual savings of about $237. So I know that's a lot of information I gave you. I certainly didn't expect any kind of answer or whatever. But I do want to work with you over the next whatever time period to discuss this with you, and hopefully if it's something that you're interested in, we can get this done by the end of the year and be able to get the lights changed out beginning as early as next year if you want us to do that. So I'll shut up for a little bit and try to answer any questions from anybody.
I have some.
Sure.
Do you, El Dorado has LED lighting. Did you do that? Have you do service El Dorado at all?
We do not.
Okay,
We do not. They are a municipal in which they own their own distribution system, and so then they buy their generation wholesale, but they own their own. I'm trying to think around here, the closest here, because we actually sort of kicked off in late 2016 replacing mercury vapor. That was our major intent. But we're getting a lot of feedback from communities about changing out high pressure sodium to that as well, so they have the same type of light that is there. What I can do is I'll go back and I'll contact you, and I'll send you 3 or 4 communities that are close. So if you want to go out and take a look at what the LED looks like, you can certainly do that. I would encourage you to do that, because I want you to be comfortable with what this is going to be, because it's going to be a different look, and frankly, you're going to get questions from residents, not necessarily bad, but it's just like, whoa, what do we do here? We got a completely different type of light here that we didn't see before. So they will recognize the difference, because the lighting will be better, and it will be different than what they're seeing now. And what they're seeing now in a lot of cases is going down a street, and there might be a mercury vapor, and then all of a sudden there's a high pressure sodium, and it looks awkward if you're If you're walking, if you're driving, you're riding a bike, or whatever it may be, it looks a lot better to have the same type of light throughout the entire community. So I'll get that information to you.
Good. I think we like it. Let's see what it looks like.
Well, on the 4 tiers, some of those lights will illuminate stronger than others, depending on location and style. Or
It will, but in a positive way. And what I mean by that is, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I should have probably said that, what we're doing is for any 5800 lumen high pressure sodium or 9500 high pressure sodium or 7700 lumen mercury vapor, we'll change all of those out to a tier 1. Now that's the vast majority that we have, as you could probably see. And that's the case because that's more of a residential lighting. As you start to maybe get roads that are a little wider, or maybe and through town or whatever, that's when we start to go a little bit higher. And so that's why any 11,000 lumen mercury vapor or 16,000 lumen high pressure sodium will go to a tier 2. Any 21,000 mercury vapor, 21,000 lumen mercury vapor, or 27,000 lumen high pressure sodium will go to a tier 3. And then any 50,000 lumen high pressure sodium, which I don't even know if there is there 1? 2, that would go to a tier 4. And so with the LED, one of the benefits of it is it is a precision light. And what I mean by that is one of the things you might see that's a little bit noticeable. Let's say that you're a resident and you're used to having our existing light not only light the roadway, which is the primary purpose of it, but it also may be pushing light back onto their front porch or to their driveway or something of that nature. With the LED, won't do that because it's a precision light. It'll direct light along the roadway, and so if an individual is used to receiving a little bit of light on their front porch, they may lose some of that. But they will be more light on that roadway and directed to where we want it to go. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's the difference that you'll see. Any other questions? Anybody else have any? So I'll get that information on to you. I'll give you an opportunity to discuss it among yourselves for a little bit, and then I'll reach back out to you and we'll determine if you need me to come back out again or what information you might need to help you make a decision on this. Did you have another question? Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And here's a couple of extra. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to community cleanup. Rumpke has been in touch with Alan Melody, and they need a contract with someone who's agreeing to sponsor this community cleanup. Alan wondered if the village, since they have agreed to pay up to $1,000 in fees for dumping, would want to be the sponsors. The village is who, the person paying the bill is who Rumpke would prefer to sign the contract, of course. Now, I had Mandy call our insurance company today to see if we had coverage for an event like this. If we are the sponsors of this event, we do. The waivers, we have copies of waivers that are used by volunteer organizations who have a lot of volunteers to help with them, and we would need those waivers signed. There are minors who would have to have their parents sign the waiver before they could come and help with this. I heard the figure of 6 to 8 teenage boys coming from National Trail to help picking things up, putting things in these trucks. The other thing I had with this was the contract from Rumpke, which calls for, that's not it. Contract is, they will provide truck and driver at no charge for this event. They will also provide 2 trips to the landfill at no charge. So apparently it's 1 truck, 1 driver, but they will go to the landfill twice without charging us. And the town will be responsible for the disposal fee. Of course, we have allotted $1,000 to that, and that's all.
And we don't know what that fee's
We
going to be.
would not know. We would not know until, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't know what.
How much,
Nothing fee.
what the
Total,
total fees,
the total
the
fee
total would be.
might
We don't know.
be-
They have
Until
to
it's
pay.
said and done.
Yeah, until it's done, there's no way of knowing. And if we sign this, in my opinion, we're on the hook for whatever is dumped. You know, I mean, we can't say, we'll go up to $1,000, this, the guy driving the truck probably doesn't know what's in it. I don't know how much is in it. You know, I don't know. I think it was a nice idea. I still think it's a good idea. It's nice to do it for the people in the village. However, it's up to you all if you want to take this on. Because the other thing that we would need, in my opinion, if we're going to sponsor it, somebody from this council has to be up there that morning checking identification on these kids, make sure all those waivers are in place. Or we would be remiss, that would be misfeasance.
Is Alan taking the responsibility of getting these waivers signed?
He says he is, yes, but I still think we should see them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he won't do it, I'm saying if we're sponsoring it, we better, by golly, make sure all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed.
Has he contracted any other entity to take over?
Not
Be
that
a
I'm aware
sponsor?
of. Not that I know of. He called me today because he had gotten this contract and, you know, it's how
I
it's
called Billy today about that, I never thought of it. I don't remember who sponsored it before, but I know the village.
Chamber of Commerce always
Okay.
sponsored it. I think at one time, and I might be completely off the wall, J.C.'s helped with the pickup of the items. You know, they would be, the local J.C.'s chapter went around and helped pick things up and load them into the truck. And of course, at that time, it was Billy's truck too. You know, or his
Well,
truck.
Rumpke helped out there for a while after
Well.
Billy sold out.
But I think the chamber always sponsored it. This would be something that we have not traditionally done.
So if the village is responsible for that first $1,000, let's just say, but let's say it goes over that, let's say it's $1,200,
If you sign this contract, you're paying.
then you're liable for the entire bill.
You would be, yes.
Plus, we're going to have to put Billy's manpower out there to do the job that Mr. Melody come up with the idea of.
Well, I don't know that we'll need, the only thing we'll need is one person, I think, to go and make sure things are, all the paperwork is in
We're
order.
going to be a village employee.
Well, or one of us.
So we're village employees.
Yeah, when we make the big money, it's gonna cost us a lot if one of us goes up. I'm not against it, I'm just trying to lay out how it is. We have no idea how much this is going, I don't know if 5 people or 500 people will have things out to be picked up. As of now, I have seen no publicity
Bill
much
anticipated 2 dumpsters.
about it. There will still be 2 trucks, I believe is what he said, 2 dump trucks, if I'm not mistaken, or some kind of trucks.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't anticipate a lot of stuff being out, set out on the curves and being out there very long, because from my experience where I live, if I set something outside, within an hour, it's gone.
The only thing,
No matter
well,
what.
and you may very well be correct, we've all done that. I
I'm
know,
sure.
set something out and it disappears. The only thing is, our trash service will be here, you know, on Thursday, so you'd only have a day, Friday, to set it out and
Yeah.
let it be picked up. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because I have no idea. It's been a long time since we've done this. As I said, I have not seen publicity about it. anywhere. So that's going to be, and we can't do that. We're not doing that. We're not. Alan will have to get it publicized.
Yeah, I think the town's always done it though, haven't they?
Well, they did for several years, but it faded out there because they couldn't get anybody to help. They
But the
couldn't-
town didn't sponsor, the village didn't
Right.
sponsor it.
No, we
The
didn't.
government did not sponsor it.
We paid the dumping fees, but that was it.
Yeah.
But now Rumpke's wanting us to be the sponsors.
Well, they want somebody to sign this contract, and Alan can't sign. I mean, they would prefer the person paying the bill signs the contract,
Yeah.
which makes perfect sense to me. And, I don't, I
Does the
think,
contract say what they...
Like I say, if we do it
As far as what...
and it doesn't work out, we won't do it
all I
anymore.
know that is that anything with refrigerant cooling,
I think
fluid,
they have-
anything like that will come down here to a truck. There should be 2 trucks here, one for electronics, like old computers, printers, anything like that, and one for refrigerators, air conditioners, any kind of HVAC, I don't know who's going to drag a refrigerator, but, you've got a smaller one and you want to get rid of it, and those things are to be off the premises that day. Once it's over with, the drivers of these trucks who he's using trucks from local trucking people, are supposed to be off premises. If they're not here, we can't, see, this is what worries me. If those trucks don't show up and people drag stuff down here, we can't have them just dumping it out here in our parking lot. We've got to be reasonable.
Rumpke's got a guarantee that the trucks are gonna be here.
No, they don't do the
They don't pick
refrigerators
those
or
things up.
the equipment, electronic.
They won't take those things, that's why he's having
But I
somebody else
think
come
they,
and
yeah,
pick them
they're
up.
supposed to have a couple of guys that has volunteered to pick
Who's
up
supposed to
the...
have a couple of guys?
Alan
Alan.
says that he's supposed to be having 2 trucking companies, somebody from, I think, Jason Schaefer, and he mentioned somebody else, Jared's name.
Jared.
Yeah, I think. Will each supposedly are each donating a truck to be down here to have those things in it. The refrigeration stuff, I don't know who's going to take it, but he's got somebody that would take it. He also has someone, the electronic things are supposed to go to IU East because they're doing a thing the
right.
following weekend. So all that will be hauled over there. But it can't stay here, I made that very clear. If we do decide to do it, it can't stay here. It cannot sit here.
Right. And Alan's aware of that too, right?
That's who I spoke to, that's
Yeah,
who I
okay.
told. I
Why isn't he here tonight?
I'm assuming he couldn't be here tonight. That's why I got this phone call today, because he wound up not being able to come.
Okay. And the pickup date is,
The 19th of May.
oh, I thought it was
No,
Oh,
May
that's,
19th.
that's the car show.
Yeah, this coming weekend. Yeah, this coming weekend is the car show, and it will be the following weekend. After garage sale, that's kind of traditional. People got all this stuff out for garage sale, but they didn't sell a lot of times. They just hung on to it and threw it in the dump the next, or in the, let it be picked up by the cleanup people the following week.
I think it's a good thing for the town.
It is if it works, if it goes well. All I can say is we can try it, and if it doesn't work, we won't do it again.
What
I
about
mean, if
your
we don't
money?
clean up things a little bit.
What about the money?
Yes.
You mean over the dump?
If we have overage,
Hmm.
are we going to revote and pay that overage? What are we going to do? Because if we sign this, we're getting bills from Rumpke, and I understand that. They need somebody to step up and say, we're responsible. That's what this little contract, which is just a letter, is
So what are we
about.
gonna do? We're gonna vote on it tonight, whether we're gonna sponsor it or not?
Yes,
But
we
we
are.
need
We're
to know
going to have
about
to,
the
because
money part.
we won't have, unless we want to have a special meeting, if we're not going to do that.
No.
The constraints of time say that we have to vote tonight, whether we want to sponsor this and take the liability of whatever it costs.
Let's get on with it.
You can get, I don't know how much those dumpster trucks carry to you, Chris, working with,
Well, they carry a lot of weight.
yeah, I know, and 2 trips would be a lot.
Well, I don't know what it costs a ton to dump. I have no
Yeah.
idea on that.
Well, the first 2's gonna be free, but I don't know how much it costs anymore for that.
I'm wondering about participation in town. It's gonna be less than 2 weeks away, and we're sitting here, we don't know anything about it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And so, you know, we're supposed to be in the know, all right? So what about the rest of town? So,
Yeah,
yeah, are people gonna take advantage of this? I kinda doubt it if it's gonna come about this late in the game. I really do.
Is there a possibility you could get the chamber to co-sponsor or help with some of the costs, maybe over your $1,000 or?
I don't know, I suppose we could ask them. That's
Well, like you said, if the town doesn't participate, they don't get involved, you're not gonna have much cost.
No. It's gonna be,
Well, but you're not going to.
No, we
You know what I'm
don't.
saying? There'll be nothing out there to pick up our.
I don't
mean, if
know,
the town
we
don't
still
get
have to
involved-
have a special meeting then, and I don't want to have a special meeting.
No, and, you know,
If we went ahead and tried it and the cost is above, we would have to pay it and then maybe ask for donations or whatever if we could, or go to some of the organizations to ask if they could help. And it'd be a lesson learned that we wouldn't do it again. I don't know. Any suggestions?
It's truly my opinion, I feel like it, I don't think we're gonna have that as much stuff as, but.
And I'm trying to think, how,
I just can't see us getting involved in signing because I really, at this late in the game, without any kind of a community paper or channel or outlet to get this out front of people right now, unless we put it on radio or something like that, I doubt there's going to be many people to participate.
What, from 9 to 11 or was it from 7 to 11?
7, I believe. It should be over by 11 o'clock in the morning.
If it was me, and it's not me,
I know that, I think.
but if it was me, I think you'd get the word out the quickest if you use social media and went door to door with flyers. If you really wanted to get out there, that's the best way to do it. I
Well,
know
we do have social media.
I did scouting for years,
whether it's right.
and we tie a bag on every door, and that was it. But people knew within a week to fill it up and leave it out there for us, and we go pick it up. And I was always impressed by the response. So it could be done, I mean, from the standpoint of getting the word out, I believe.
Yeah, but who's helping out? I don't have any idea.
I don't think
Nobody, I don't think.
Do that by himself?
It's Chuck New York.
I imagine people will be volunteering to help you, but I can't tell you who.
Well, we can ask for that. We can ask that that be done. And the social media thing, I don't think will be, that's a given. I'm sure you'll be right on there, but I don't know.
I think flyers door to door is how I would go about it.
At this late date, you're probably correct. Because that would explain a
Would we
lot
put
better
the
that there are
flyers up?
2 different places to
No.
take things.
Alan would,
You would have to.
Okay.
And you'd have to get somebody to deliver.
yeah, I'll deliver them, I'll take them to every door. I'm retired, I got nothing to do.
On helping deliver flyers, that's not the, you know,
It's
to
the
me, it
cost.
would be the best way to do it, because if you have certain things, they're gonna have to come down here, and if you don't, the rest of them can sit out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a little tricky, so I think having it written down, what's gonna be picked up and where you have to take it, if you have to take it somewhere, is the best solution.
Yeah, and he should have all that on a flyer, so when you
Yes.
put the flyers
Yes.
on the doors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm being honest, I mean, I'm saying, I'll go around and put flyers on every door, I have no problem with that.
All right. Is there anybody that would be in?
One question. You keep talking about dumpsters down here or whatever, but the citizens are to put stuff in front of their house.
Except those things. They'll have to be,
Except for the electronics too. Okay.
they'll be required to bring them here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whether or not they have people here to help them, that's that I don't know.
Well, if they're bringing them down here, it's their responsibility to put them in the correct dumpster. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
that's anywhere you go. If you're gonna take something.
they'll do that, but I'm not sure they would.
Then you know what? I guess I'll come down here and stand down here and say, hey, that don't go on the ground, it goes in there. I'm not afraid to speak up.
Yeah, you probably need
Probably
somebody.
need
Huh?
You probably need somebody.
Probably need somebody here watching.
Well, I'll come down
Well,
here.
see, I
Down
think you
Ludlow.
would, honestly, I'm sorry, I think you would. Okay,
Do whatever it takes in order to get the job done.
the chair will entertain a motion to sponsor the Village Cleanup Day on May 19th.
Oh, I'll make a motion that we sponsor it May 19th, and let's try it and go from there.
And that we still have $1,000 that we committed to this, is that correct?
Well, and then probably any other cost above that at this time, and try to get some donations.
Where do you go?
If it goes over 1,000, and then we don't do it again.
I would specify just for dumping costs only, or you're gonna have him asking for pliers and equipment and.
Okay, the motion is to sponsor the Village Cleanup Day on May 19th from 7 a.m. until 11, and to pay up to $1,000 for the dumping fees.
That's
Is
what
that
we said.
correct?
That's what we said.
That's the motion. Is there a second?
Mary Jane,
Yes.
Peggy,
I abstain.
Yes.
Luther, Tim, Ralph.
No. We already voted on $1,000.
Well,
That's what we did.
left it.
That's still the same.
Well, since we're sponsoring it, I just threw it in there, so we don't have any.
Well,
other
it's already in
costs.
the past minutes, but whatever.
But we weren't the sponsors at the time, so.
So,
I just don't want to open up a checkbook to see what it's going to cost us in the end. You know, I still think we need something.
I was trying to remember what it used to be, but I know the costs has went up. And I was thinking it was under 1,000, but who knows?
We're going to move along and keep our fingers crossed, and I will ask him if he can get us some flyers that will have people that will take them around, etc. Okay? And I misplaced my.
Reading.
I can't find it.
We get,
Stuck under something here. Thank you very much.
Alan to make up those flyers.
Oh, okay. The Board of Public Affairs has, we're going to just turn it over to them, let them tell you what they have, but that we all know what I say. But for Kim's benefit and everything else, the board would like to replace the water line. Chris, would you like to talk to that just for a second?
Yes, we represent Board of Public Affairs, and we have an issue with the water line on South Washington Street, approximately from Subway to the lamp post. It is an old section of line that's not been replaced for many years, and our dilemma is that the state is going to come in and pave the street in May of 19. Now, most of you attend our meeting, I don't know if Kim was there, but this is just kind of an overview. We feel it's important that we replace that water line before they pave the street. So at least the street will stay paved and smooth for some time to come. We've had probably at least 5 breaks in that line in the last 5 years, in that section alone. We went to Susan, or worked with Susan, and tried to obtain a grant. The grant funding is not available until after the date of the paving. So this is going to do us no good. We'd have to tear up the new street, then put the water line in. So we're looking at putting in the water line ourselves. The approximate cost from Susan was $182,000. That's what it's going to cost the town to put it in. We already made a motion and voted on it at our meeting. We want to proceed with the project. We'll have to borrow the $182,000. And it's going to be at 0.9% interest, so less than 1% for a 20-year period. And the payment's going to be approximately $9,000 a year is what we'll have to pay on the loan. Of course, we would need approval and your consideration in this matter, but we believe it's critical that we replace this line. This is a 4-inch line. The rest of the line completely from one end of Washington Street to the other is 8-inch, other than that section. And it's still a 4-inch. So with this being done, we would have everything, the whole Washington Street would have a new line put in the last few years since the water plant's been done. So this is the only old section we have, and we figure if we do not repair this line before the pavement is done, then we'll be digging it up shortly afterwards to repair it. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So I would like to ask the council for their consideration and vote on this. If we proceed with this, Susan is helping us to obtain the funds, and like as many of you know, you was at the meeting, our special meeting last Tuesday, and you know what we're talking about. You heard basically the same thing we did. Anybody got any questions about it?
Yeah, I do. Does it have anything to do with the tiny house village?
No.
Nothing on by it?
No, this is Washington Street only.
Around the loop of New Paris, what, 2003?
Yes.
For whatever reason, that one section never got done. So that's what got us thinking. We tried to beat it before the road came in, but it's not going to work out that way.
You say 9,000 a year?
That would be the payment, about $9,000 a year for 20 years. Mhm. Yes. We explained to all the other members, and I can get that figure for you, Kim, of what our other loans are. We have 4 other loans at the present time we're paying on, so this will be a 5th. Almost assuredly there will be an increase in water to help cover the cost of this, but we're probably looking at that probably not until January of next year. And it won't be a huge increase, it'll be a moderate increase to cover the cost of this loan. But the street, I guess we've never come up with a sure date when the street was paved the last time. It had to be before 2003 when the water line was put in. So it's over 15 years old now, and if they paved the street in 19, there's no way that line's gonna last for another 15 years. I mean, it's just not.
Everybody's sick of that washboard coming into town anyway, and that's where the water line went in. And so if they can get that paved, then come along and have to dig that back up again.
And I was thinking they paved that before that water line in, when
They did.
they
They
had,
paved it
yeah,
before
they
the
tore it up
2003
and then
water line.
Yes, they
it's
did.
been like that ever
So
since.
the existing street's been there a minimum of 15 years, probably a little longer.
To my memory, that road was fairly new when they did that water line. I would say
It was.
years.
Yeah, but within a year, because there was a lot of remarks made about, well, we just put the street down, now it's.
Yeah, okay.
And that's
So
kind of what we're trying to avoid at this point.
We're trying to,
Be
if
proactive.
we get a 15-year street out there, we want to keep it 15 years.
Yes. Uh-huh.
In order for us to proceed with this, we have to get the engineering done. It has to be presented to the, is this rural water? Isn't that where we're going?
Yeah,
That's where the
Rural
loan
water?
is.
yeah, USDA.
Yes. And so, and they need that in order to process the loan. The loan then will have to be voted on in a separate meeting, probably in a month from now or so. But what we need to do this evening is pass a resolution. This is Resolution 2018-09 to accept a contract with Moog Associates Incorporated for the consulting and engineer work for the South Washington Street Water Line Replacement Project. Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of New Paris, Preble County, Ohio, as follows. Section 1. Moog and Associates Incorporated is hereby authorized to provide consulting services for the South Washington Street Water Line Replacement Project. Section 2. Moog Associates Incorporated is hereby authorized to provide engineering services for the South Washington Street Water Line Replacement Project. Section 3. This resolution is hereby declared to be an emergency measure to take effect and be enforced immediately upon its passage to meet the project deadline. I am not going to read, I can make it available to all of you, but I'm not going to read the entire engineering agreement. But I will read you this part, which is the project fee schedule. Preliminary engineering services, $3,000. Design engineering, $9,500. Procurement services, $3,500. Construction administration, $2,000. Construction observation, $5,600. Total service fees, $23,600. And the fees are based on the scope of the work entailed in getting all the engineering and installation of that water line done.
Don't we need to talk about whether we want to do it or not, or vote on it?
Well, that's what this is. Do
Okay.
you want to?
To go forward with it?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was separate.
No, this is the first step that we have to take to go ahead with borrowing that money and putting that line in. We have to have it engineered first, and they want to see that before they, because I think they want
Yeah,
costs.
I know they need to see
incurred.
that, but okay.
I believe it was for purposes of cost and how much loan you
Right.
needed. So this part has to be done first. So we will entertain a motion to,
Who's doing the actual work?
It'll have to be put
it'll
out.
be bid later.
It'll have to be bid.
It'll be
Okay,
open
okay.
to, we gotta open it up to everyone for a period of time, and my understanding was not to be less than 17 days, is that what you said?
I think so. I think 17 is the shortest period of time.
But we also are looking at concerns with the settling after we do the work too. So in other words, if we replace the water lines just prior to the state coming in with the road, there's a possibility it would sink down like we're seeing now. So if we can move now and get it done this summer or this fall.
Probably.
Fall, we
Late
want
fall.
to get it done this fall, so it's so all winter, then probably in part, the biggest part next summer before they come along and finish the paving. And we all have a good bid for no problems.
And everybody that's going to be bidding, or whoever they are bidding,
One of the main,
the 182,000, that's,
That's the projected cost.
Yeah, okay.
one of the biggest things is going underneath that creek there.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
across the bridge. Go across the bridge and
Which I suspect probably why they didn't do it to begin with, and they replaced all the other stuff.
good bid.
I'd like to make a motion that we go forward with this and accept the resolution on the engineering.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
yes.
Ken? Ralph?
Yes.
Is there a motion to declare an emergency and pass this on a single reading?
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Ken? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Committee reports. Safety. Eric, wake up.
I'm here. Just to kind of let you guys know also real quick on the, it's $21 a ton at this jump
Right.
car. Just as for information. For the department, for April, we had calls for service was 109. Reports made to 21 reports, 1 arrest, 6 citations issued, and 13 warnings issued. We also do have this month clicker ticket begins May 21st through June 3rd.
Pretty good. Do you have anything else, Rick, for safety? Thank you. Building,
I think I'm on that committee, I don't remember, but, we still have someone come in for cleaning, right?
yes, they've been
But the bathrooms are a mess, there's cobwebs
I know.
and it's nasty in there. So,
Yeah, they come in every Friday.
Maybe we want to direct them back in here a little bit.
yeah.
A little bit harder.
Yeah.
We were hoping to paint this one, but we didn't get to it.
Do they still have that, community service program through the court system? Do you know where?
Usually it's a diversion program. They don't like to have juveniles, if you will.
Well, sometimes
Usually that'd
adults,
be
we used to
adults.
get adults.
Yeah, I don't believe that they use those programs too much anymore.
Okay.
It's kind of like a free.
That's how we used to get a lot of work there. Okay.
Thank you. Streets.
I have several things on the streets. Last few weeks, we put 15 ton asphalt down on the pothole repairs here in town. 9 loads of gravel, we're fixing alleys with. They're gonna get the street sweeper out this week, hopefully if the weather's good, to try to clean up some of that debris that's filling up the grates in the storm sewer. And the grounds up at the schoolhouse will be mowed for this weekend's festival with the garage sale and the car show, hopefully, only the weather provides and works with us on that. And basically, that's about it. I think they're working as best on the streets as they can, just repairing what potholes we have that everybody's, you know, we're all concerned about that till the state comes in, we can get that street repaved. We're moving along slowly with it, but we are moving along.
I have a question. Those grates that sit out in front of your house, okay, are the homeowners responsible for cleaning those?
Not the storm sewer grates are not.
They're not?
We do as a village.
You don't do mine,
Okay.
and you don't do the one across the street from me, because I do them, and I've been doing them.
You don't have to do.
Well, I didn't know, so I've been doing them anyway, so the water doesn't back up, and then, just run across the road.
Yeah.
And, because I didn't know whether we were supposed to or not.
No, the grates.
So I dragged my funky dumpster out there, fill it up.
But I'm glad you're doing it.
I don't know how many times a year they're being done, but I don't think they're being done enough.
And while we're on the streets, I have a question for Chris. On the corner of South Washington and Pearl there, where those grates are, that one grate right there on my corner, it drops down probably, I know, a good 3 feet. It's like the road is like sunk. You know what I'm talking about?
What, your house?
That's
Yeah.
the street department.
That'd be street.
That wouldn't be ours.
That wouldn't have anything to do with
Oh,
it.
wouldn't be you? Oh, okay.
No.
I was just curious about that, because I always thought, all these other grates are way up here, and like, right by my house, they're like way down in the ground,
Well, some of that's for flow.
Huh?
If it's low, if it dips, some of that's for flow. So that as the water runs down the curving,
It's
it'll
pretty
rush
rough.
to there,
Yeah, well, mine looks pretty low. I mean, it looks like the road is actually dipping, you know what I mean? Because if you pull up to the stop sign there, and you get over in there, you'll slam your bumper on the ground. You'll go boom. Yeah.
Well, I think Ralph can have somebody take a look at it.
Yeah,
see
will
if
do.
it's- Yeah, if
Yeah.
it has sunk down more than it should have. Thank you. Lights.
Lights, okay. Now, I think whoever does lights should get hazardous pay. Because the other night, when I went around and did lights, cussed out twice, I got flipped off twice, and I was trying to find the town cop, and then one guy pulled up alongside me and just literally giving me hell. But I'm looking up, trying to make sure that which lights
Are you
are...
walking out in the middle of the street or what?
No, I'm in my car,
Oh, okay.
And you're in the way.
and then I put on my flashers, and then somebody pulled up alongside me, and he goes, "You can't drive it over." I'm like, what the hell is this about? So I'm trying to check the street lights, and it took me a long time that
You
night.
know what? I think maybe we can arrange for a ride-along a couple of nights.
Well,
With
I
the
thought, well,
policeman.
I
And that way, we can put it into that, I think.
well, I just never thought that would happen, And I I mean, I realize that I'm going down the road with my flashers on and, I'm a little slow, but, hey. And I only found one light out. I don't know if this light counts. In the LCNB bank,
In their parking lot?
in their parking lot, right there on that one corner,
Yeah.
the
that's
light is
theirs.
out.
That's their
It may be their
security
own
light.
property.
Might be their own, okay, that's the only light I found out, okay.
Thank you, we'll try to get you some protection
Yeah.
for the next month.
The
Well,
one
you know,
Christian church only works.
I went home and I told my wife about it, and she says, you stayed in your car, right? And I said, yeah, because if I got out, I'd have probably went to jail in my own town,
I'm sorry,
I
Chris.
said the one in front of the Christian church only works part of the time. It's out some, it's on some, at least.
Okay, and then the one on, well, actually, the one on Wren in South
On
Washington
Cherry Street there.
Yes.
comes off and on. But it does come on.
If the gentleman from Miami Valley liked me and stayed a little longer, I had a lot of questions I didn't.
Okay.
But he left early. I think he knew I had some ideas, that I need to ask him, because when he was talking about the efficiency of Miami Valley, we
Yeah.
waited over 3 months to get one light fixed. So,
Okay, well, there you go.
That's one thing also, if I may, when we go around while we're patrolling, if we notice a light out, we have a paper in here that we can fill out that we send in to them to get it fixed.
Okay, well, I'm on that committee, so I just,
Well, certainly, and I appreciate that. I'm sorry that you had a bad experience. And I'm perfectly serious. I don't know why, a couple of nights in a month, our police officer can take you around.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I got a bad temper and I'm a hothead. And normally if somebody cusses me out, it's on. But I stayed in my car and I thought, well, you know what? I'm representing the town.
Thank you, we all
And,
appreciate that.
yeah, you know what I mean? And I don't want anybody filing a complaint, so I just act like I was stupid,
Your restraint is admirable, thank you.
Chris,
Welcome
that
to
one across the
Paris.
street from the garage, is that back working again? There was one out there.
Across the garage?
Garage.
No, it's fine. I haven't seen it.
The other night I went through, it's been about a week, it was out, it may have been too early in the evening, before all of them came out.
I've not, a couple of years ago, it was doing that kind of.
Yeah,
thing,
we replaced
They've been
it.
there since and worked on it, correct.
Where's this at? Did I miss something?
Front of Bud Ridge Garage.
Oh,
But it's fine right now.
okay, fine.
Finance, that's you. I will tell you that right now there's an auditor here. They're doing a selective audit. They're not doing a complete, big, long audit, but it's still a real pain. So there is an auditor here. The other thing I would like everybody to keep in mind, because time is coming up on it, is whether or not we think we want to run a police levy this year. If we want to, we need to get moving on it. What we have now is a 3 mil levy that is tied to 1984, 83, something, values, property values. It's a continuing levy, and the property values are still from 1984, I think. And, we aren't getting 3 mils worth out of that. We can't afford to let it go, because we may not be able to pass a new one, but I really feel that it's something we need to really look at, because it's using so much of our general fund money, and I feel that we need to have police protection. I don't think it's something we want to do without. They're working very diligently to try to find people. It's very difficult to find anyone to hire even, especially in these smaller places that don't pay a real high amount. But I would like everybody please think about what you want to do, because at a June meeting, we're going to probably have to decide.
I don't know who writes those levies up, but is there a way that we can word it to where we don't lose what we have? I don't know.
We're not going to change that 3 mil.
Right.
We're going to leave it on, because we don't have to vote on it. If we wanted to replace it with a 3 mil levy for 5 years, we could do that, but if that didn't pass, we wouldn't have anything. It'd be worse than it is now, if possible. Right now, I think we're getting $26,000 a year from that 21, 22, okay, it's worse than I thought. $22,000 a year coming in on a 3 mil levy for police that hasn't changed since the 80s, the early 80s.
1982.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, something else, so the parking or the maintenance was 84, something I looked at recently. Anyway, you know, if we do 1.5 mil, which is half of what that 3 mil is, we'll still be getting 21,000, isn't that correct? Another $21,000. We could certainly use it. It would save our general fund and allow us to do some other things. Mostly what we'd like to do with that money is, you know, save it for these grant matching funds that eat us up. If we don't have to put it in the police fund, which we do, we need to use it there. But if we have a little more money in there, it'll save us and make things a little bit easier for us to try to get the grants and save up the money that we need to make our grant matches. Because I don't see us being able to do any of these capital improvements without the grant funds. There's just not going to happen.
No.
So,
Yeah, we need to do something.
I think we do need to do something. We've backed off
What about
quite
the
a
2
bit
mil?
of what we had. Well, you look at it, find out what the 2 mil would be, and if you want to try that, try it. I think what we need to do is let people know, yes, we have 3 mil on there right now, but we don't get 3 mils worth.
I know.
We get 1.5 mil worth. It's worth half of what it was
Yeah.
as far as property values and values of anything when we passed it. So we don't dare let that one go, but we do need another one, I think. And we just have to try to explain to people, you know, why we need it and why the other one isn't taking care of us as if we
Well,
expected it.
and they did drop one.
Yes, they did. There was a
Yeah.
little one that we dropped, and we'd like to do
But
that with
little
others.
is better than nothing.
It is better than nothing, yes. But I think, you know, I just think it was a mistake to promise we got income tax, we never need anything else, because it's not working out that way. And our income tax revenue drops a little bit every year.
It does.
And it's just because people aren't staying here with people who have jobs. They're going somewhere, if they have a job, or if they want a job, they have to go somewhere where there's a job to get. So it's a kind of a bad
So when,
situation.
how soon, doesn't that have to be in
It
by
has
the
to be
1st
in,
of August?
it has to be in the early part of August. We'll have to know what we want to do, I think, next month, to get all paperwork done for July to get it in there by August.
Can we get it done?
Let's do it now.
Well, are you ready to do it now?
I'm ready to do it.
Is everybody feel comfortable with trying to do it now? I don't care, but, I mean, we have been talking about it. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to place the police services levy on the ballot in November for whatever amount the council agrees on.
What do you think?
Police
Rick?
levy, you said?
Yes.
What is it? What'd you say, the 1.5 was?
1.5 was 21. I think,
So another,
you know, 2 would be what?
I don't know.
Be another $7,000. So it'd be about 28.
20,
You could think about 28 for 2 mil.
still
Oh, yeah.
not enough, but that's
It's
better.
not,
We
but
can't go
that's
too
no,
much.
and I don't think we dare ask gouge people, but I do think it needs to be something we can live with.
I think we need to go for the 2 mil.
Oh, we have 3 mil already.
We do, but we don't
Yes, we
have
have
to.
3 mils, but we're leaving it alone because it's not garnering us 3 mils worth of money.
But we don't want to lose it either.
Again, okay,
So we're gonna put a new one on.
okay. And that is something that everybody will vote on?
Yeah,
It'll be on the ballot in November.
Okay,
but it has to be in by the 1st of August.
let's do
And
it.
let's do it now.
Well,
Get it over with.
is there a motion?
I make a motion that we put on a 2 mil levy on the November ballot for the general fund. No, for the police department.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because there's taken out of our general fund for the
That'll
okay.
save us money.
And that's,
Is there a
Okay,
second
yeah,
to
that's
that?
it, a 2 mil levy
It's been moved and seconded. Will you
for
call
the police department.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. And we've already called on the BPA. Do you guys have anything else to tell us? No, nothing else?
Not at this point.
Resolution and ordinance, we have some other things that we need to take care of this evening. Resolution number 2018-07 is a request for an amended 2018 Certificate of Estimated Resources. All this means is that we have had to move funds in our budget between the general fund and a special revenue fund, which turns out to be the street fund. And we are moving $5,594.53 from general to the street fund to take care of the new storm sewer down between Lincoln and Spring, down there. The storm sewer, they didn't have enough money, and we knew they wouldn't, in the street department, in the street funds to completely fund it. So the general fund is picking up the balance. So that's what this is about, moving that money from the general fund to the street fund. It realigns the figures in the budget. It's something we didn't plan on doing when we turned our budget money in. Is there a motion to accept Resolution 2018-07?
Yes.
Motion made. Excuse me, go ahead.
No, that's all right, no, I'll second it.
Okay.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Is there a motion to declare an emergency, so we can go ahead and...
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2018-08 is a resolution to approve, oh, that's the same thing, isn't it?
It's the appropriation.
It's the appropriations, I'm sorry, to realign the permanent appropriations. And it's the same amount of money and the same transfer. It transfers $55,9453 from general fund to the street fund for the same purpose, for the highway. So we've had to amend our certificate of estimated resources because the resources went up on the street fund because we moved money into it. Now we have to move to realign the permanent appropriations because we had not appropriated that kind of money to the street fund. So is there a motion to accept that resolution?
Excuse me.
Who made the motion?
Who was that?
Mary Jane. I'll second.
Very well. Done.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Is there a motion to make this declare an emergency and pass it on a single reading?
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
All right. This is our last one, I think, of the evening, and we're going to talk about it for a minute, but we're not going to vote on it tonight because we don't have the plan. I gave you all these little things about this from the Solid Waste Management in Preble County. They'd like us to accept their, to adopt their solid waste management plan, but none of us locate the copy of the actual plan. What you have is just a synopsis of what it covers, and they ask that everybody get that, but until we actually look at it, I don't think we should be voting. So we're going to hold on to this one, but we will vote on it at our next meeting. It has to be in by the end of July. So that one, that's why that's there. We just hold that one up for a little bit. Unfinished business. Well, we talked about Village Cleanup Day, and I wondered who went to did anybody get to go to the community health meeting at the Y?
Yeah, Peggy and I and Kim was there for a little while, and it just the purpose of it was the needs of the the people in the community, such as transportation or mental health problems. They talked about a lot of the mental health patients coming to the emergency room down at Eaton at the Kettering Emergency Department. And then they were kind of stuck with them because there wasn't any facilities for them to go to. And they didn't really have a doctor on call to take care of the situation. So that was probably one of the main topics that was talked about. And they just wanted to know more of the needs for the county in our area, in the villages, as to what people's needs were. And another one was transportation to get people to and from doctors and treatments for cancer or whatever it might be. And it was interesting, although there weren't too many people there.
Weren't there?
No. And so right now I can't.
Are those going to be things that
It's
have
things
Premier
that
Health
the
and
whole
those people that
state
be
looks
looking
at.
Okay.
And then they try to give other, such as Kettering's and taking over like down Eaton, setting up different facilities, trying to get these people some help. Or with the transportation or whatever. They need to know what the needs of the people are before they can start anything.
So you helped compile a statewide
Yes.
report. I thank you for going.
That's
See what
okay.
comes of that, see if there's anything good coming out of that. Is there any other unfinished business? Anything else? I mean, we've talked about a lot of it, so. Okay. In new business, the Dearborn life insurance policy is up in June. There's been no change to the policy, no premium increases. This is a policy a life insurance policy that covers all our employees. And it's is it 50? 25. It's $25,000 policy on all our employees. Would we like to renew that policy?
Yes. I make a motion that we renew that policy.
Is there a second?
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. The vision insurance is up for renewal in July. This is something that each employee pays for themselves. You pay your vision.
Yes, on her percentage, I mean.
And also no premium increase and no policy changes. Is there a motion to allow that to continue?
Yes. I make that motion.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Somewhere in here, I just had too much stuff. Overwhelmed with paper. But somewhere in here I have Jacob's. I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you what I had for unfinished, or for new business, and then we'll get to this other as I find it. But the Ohio Municipal League has set their, well, I can't find that either. Ohio Municipal League has set up their meetings. There are 4 regional meetings, and they are meetings where you go to find out how to be a good council member person and all that.
Where?
They are in, well, there's one on the 18th of May, but it's in Athens, and I don't think anybody wants to go there. But the closest one to us is in Mason, Ohio, on June 8th. All newly elected officials are required during their term to attend one of these meetings. Is that correct?
For the Ohio Municipal League? Oh, it's for the Sunshine Law?
Yes, this one goes over legislative update, home rule, open records and public meetings, so that's the Sunshine Law.
Yeah,
Public news, they covered quite a few things, but
It is required.
it is required.
And it is
that you attend
very
one.
boring.
Some of it's fun and some of it isn't, I think, but
That was for new elected.
newly elected officials, Yeah, I think that's what they're
That's
going
Kim
to.
and Luke
And
and
this
Peggy.
counts for your,
We gotta do what?
You gotta go to a meeting. It's mandatory for all council members to go to during their term. I've been, a whole bunch of us went down there a long time ago.
3 years ago, we went down.
what I'm going to do is make sure that everyone gets a copy of this, all right?
When is
The one that's closest to us this year is June 8th in Mason, Ohio. That's a Friday.
All three of those need to go.
They don't have nothing in Preble County?
No,
No.
when I went, it was in Hamilton. College,
Down
yeah.
when I get back.
Get out of here. You get cussed out too.
I will see Mandy after the meeting and we'll get this for you. Okay? I want to make sure that if you can go this year, that you can, that you've got it covered. I have invoices from our solicitor to be approved. I have 2. They're all itemized, and you can look at all of them if you wish to. But this is, one of them is $1,065. It deals with the storm sewer problem. A lot of that is that, I think. There are other items included in this, but mostly I think it's that. Actually, I'm not familiar with all the things, but I'm thinking that's what. Now, the other one deals with ordinances and the things that we have asked him to look into us and prepare for us, and legal questions that we need to have answered. It is $1,469. So I move that, or I ask someone to move to pay the bills of the solicitor. This is up through, it appears to be up through today, 5/1 is the latest charge I see on there. So it's through the very first day of May, all right?
I make a motion that we pay the attorney his fees, the solicitor his fees.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Thank you.
Hard to say no when he's sitting back here.
And while we're on the subject of the solicitor, I would like to meet Erin Kovach, and she'll stand up. She has also expressed an interest in serving on the council. So we have, and because I don't have a copy of the letter with me, but this afternoon Bill Smith resigned. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. You want to get it? We'll just look at it. I just didn't see it.
You want a copy of it?
You may have a copy afterwards if you wish. That would be fine. I do want you to know that, oh, it is still sealed. And that's why we didn't bring it over the weekend. See what's on that, 11/28. Council members, I am writing to inform you of my decision to resign my position on council. Other commitments have made it unable for me to fulfill my requirements of my position. And signed William Smith. We're sorry we'll miss Bill. He was a reasonable voice here and had a good head on his shoulders, but he also has a life and it's overwhelming him right now. So he has resigned and we are looking for an additional council member. Karen has expressed an interest. There are a
I'm
couple
ready
of
to get
others.
cussed out like what did.
I work at banking, so it happens.
And there's, I believe, Mike Nash, who's from the gun shop, has expressed an interest. And of course, we have the gentleman who had before, when we put Kim on, who had said he was interested, which was Wayne
Wayne
Mann.
Mann.
So there are 3 people to consider and to speak to if you wish to.
The gentleman across the street, I mean, he's interested too.
We will look at,
Justin.
if you can figure out, I'd like you to get some information together on all of them and see who's interested enough to be at our next council meeting, if possible. What do you think about that? Then you all can decide. Is that all right? Does that seem fair? Well, I don't know that some of these people, I don't know that everybody knew who was going to be, and I just think we can wait one more meeting, but I don't want to really wait much longer than that. So if you would like to talk to these people yourselves, make a decision, and on who you like, and then we'll take nominations at our next meeting, if that's all right.
Well, I mean, maybe have them write something up about
It would be
their
very nice
interests.
to have that, as to why they're interested and what they're they think they could bring to the council. I think that would be nice.
Sometimes you don't know. You
Well,
gotta take it when it gets here.
Well, that's absolutely true. However, if somebody has an interest in something or a talent for something that would be useful, we'd like to know that. Okay? Well, I know, but I don't think anybody had the opportunity of getting anybody else here this evening. I don't know. As whatever you guys want to do, I don't care.
Wait till next meeting. Maybe,
Can you write something up for us, please?
Thank
I
you.
think I can manage that.
I can. I can probably. Okay.
Thank you.
Where are we now? Closed up the shop. Lost my page again. Okay.
Do you work?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do.
That doesn't matter, don't have anything, I just didn't know if you.
I have communicated all I want to this evening, so I don't have anything else to say, I don't think. Is there anything else for the public? Because I would like to have an executive session for about 15 minutes, if we could.
Are you going to talk about anything to do with the sanitation committee?
Have you got anything to present
I
to us?
certainly do have. The property on 207 North High Street. I've talked to those people 3 times. They have been cleaning up that place 3 different times. I talked to the person that is the son of Sandy Bright at
207 North, oh, are you going, okay, you lost me, I don't know where you're
At
at.
306 Lincoln Street, they're cleaning up that place, okay? At 400 Red Avenue, they're cleaning that place up, because I talked to them about these. And 306 Lincoln Street, 3 places. They're cleaning up all 3 places. And on 144 North Washington belongs to Ron Clemens, and he's cleaning up his garage that is deplorable condition. He's cleaning that up, and it's not finished yet. He's cleaning that up. And that's all I have to report.
Peggy, I'm sorry, I just missed it. I beg your pardon. But
Yeah,
is North High also one of the Bright properties? It's not, is it?
No,
Just
that's in the court system.
Okay. 400 Red and 306 Lincoln are those that,
That 107 is the trailer, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the head of the court system.
The three that I talked to, Sandy Bright's son, was 400 Red
Yes.
Avenue, 309 East Main, 306 Lincoln.
okay. And he's working on all this.
Yes,
Good.
and he's doing good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. And then the North Washington Street garage is getting cleaned up too.
Yeah, oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's good news. Anything else? Anything else I missed? I beg your pardon. I'll dig through this sea of paper up here this evening. Planning Commission. Planning Commission met today, and why don't you go ahead? I've talked
We met today with Steve Connie, and he asked permission to allow him to put a porch on the front of his house, and the planning commission agreed to have him do that. He asked also for a 5-foot variance at the same time, which we agreed upon that also, so that he could put a porch on his house. On Walnut Street, wasn't it?
the Walnut Street side of his house. He wants to put a roof
Yeah.
on this porch. This is the sketch, and I'll pass it around. It's not real helpful, but you're looking at facing Walnut. And the setback should be 25 feet. He needs a variance to 20 feet. And the planning commission has agreed to that. We will. And also agreed to the porch being put on.
Don't be going up. Just wants to put a roof on.
I think it comes out from the house 6'2" or 6,
Yeah, 6'4".
it's like 25 by 6 or something is or the rough dimensions of the porch.
He has to get a permit.
He does, we have to issue a permit on this, and then he has to take those to Eaton
County.
Yes.
because of it's a roof on something.
Okay,
The
okay.
building permit will have to be issued there.
His first step is to come here first for the permit, and then he moves on to the county for their permit before he.
Okay.
We would like to hear a motion to approve the decisions of the planning board.
I'll make it. So moved.
I'll second it. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Pam? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we are ready to go into executive session. I don't expect us to take a vote afterwards, and I don't expect there to be any other business. So if everybody wants to go, that's fine. You can stay if you like. I don't know that are you ready to go home? I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it. It's just kind of a housekeeping thing. Good night, Erin. Thank you.
No, not really.
What's the matter? That wasn't like she's one of those people from.
I can't remember what they said her name
Christine
was.
Drive that is so upset about the little houses. Maybe.
Thanks, Eric.
Yes, Eric, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, have a good night, guys.
We need a motion for executive session.
I'm sorry, go into executive session at
45.
8:47.
Yeah.
Mary Jane, are you in favor?
Peggy?
I didn't hear it.
We're going into executive session.
Yes.
Yes or no? Oh,
Yes.